Hi family, welcome back to ladensercrochets. If you're new to this channel, you're welcome. My name is Liz. In this tutorial, we're going to create a bell-bottom pair of pants. Then afterwards, I'll be making the matching of shoulder top, and I'll also share a tutorial for it right here. As you can see, the bell part of the pants is meshy, while the upper part is full coverage. And I hope you're going to enjoy this tutorial. If you do, don't forget to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, of course, if you're not subscribed. As you can hear, I have a bit of a flow, and I hope you're going to get the parts where I recorded with the flow. Grab your materials and let's get into the tutorial.
I'm using this yarn in color Luminous Green. The yarn is very thin, and therefore I'll be doubling the strands in order to achieve a medium weight effect. This yarn is acrylic. You can use acrylic yarn or a blend of both acrylic and cotton, or just cotton yarn. Then I'll be using a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. I'll need a pair of scissors, stitch markers, and a measuring tape. Then I'll also need a darning needle. So you can use whatever size of hook and whatever type of yarn that's available to you, provided you get your measurements right. The measurements that you're going to need are the hip measurement, the fly measurement, the thigh measurement, and the length from the waist to the knees, and the full length of your pair of pants. I'm going to double my strands like this. Then I'll start with a slip knot. Then make a chain that is long enough to fit my hip measurements while slightly stretched. So when you're measuring your chain, make sure that you stretch it out a little bit. I've done 110 chains, and I'm going to measure this to see whether it gets me to my hip measurement. I'm marking a hip measurement of 38. So let me take this measurement from here, stretching out a little bit, just like this. And there, it gets me to 38.2, and I can work with that. So 110 chains is just a reference point. We're not going to use the chains. So once you get your desired number of chains, you're going to undo the chain. Then begin again with a slip knot and chain 11. After the 11 chains, you're going to insert your hook into the second chain after the hook. So this is the first and this is the second. So insert your hook into the second chain, yarn over and pull up a loop to get 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops to complete a single crochet. Into the next chain, insert your hook, pull up a loop and complete a single crochet. Then a single crochet into the third chain, single crochet into the fourth chain, then into the fifth, and work a total of 10 single crochets in that first row. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is the 10th. So 10. That's our first row. So chain 1 and turn to begin row 2. We're going to work row 2 in the back loops only. So let me show you what we mean by back loops. If we work right here, we are working the 2 loops of the stitch. But then we want to work in the back loop, which is this one right here. For the next one, we're going to work right here. Then into this loop and into all the loops to the end. So starting with the first stitch, insert the hook into the back loop of that stitch and do a single crochet into the next back loop and work a total of 10 single crochets in the back loops. I'm in the last stitch, so I'm placing my last single crochet right there, and there I'm done with row 2. Then I'm going to chain 1 and turn to begin row 3, and row 3 is going to be the same as row 2. Starting in the first back loop, work a total of 10 single crochets, 1 into each of the stitches. Make sure you're working the back loops only. Be careful not to miss the last back loop, which is this one right here. Work into it a single crochet. And we're done with the first 3 rows. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 4. Then again, repeat row 2 for row 4. So from here, we're going to repeat row 2 until we have a total of 110 rows. If you've gotten 120, you're going to work 120. That is, if your chain was 120, you're going to work 120 rows of single crochets in the back loops. If your starting chain was 80, you're going to work 80 rows. If it was 100, you're going to work 100 rows. Now, because mine were 110, I'm going to work 110 rows of single crochet rows, that is, and make sure that I'm working them in the back loops. So keep going with your rows. I'll meet you once I have my 120 rows. I'm done with 110 rows, and this represents my waistband. So I'm going to chain 1, fold this into 2 like this, so that I join the 2 ends of the ribbon, and I'm going to work the back loop on one side, then both loops on the other side of the ribbon, and I'm going to connect this with a single crochet. Then the second stitch in the back loop on this side, and both loops on the other side connect with a single crochet. Then on the third stitch and the third stitch on the other side. And then I'll connect for a total of 10 stitches because we have a total of 10 stitches. So this is the fourth, I'm in the last stitch, so I'll work the back loop on this side and the both loops on the other side. Single crochet right there, then chain one and turn my ribbon to the right side like that. So now we have the waistband ready. We're going to work the main part of the pants now, and we're going to start with row one, and we're going to place one stitch into each of the rows. So I have a total of 110 rows, and that means I should have 110 stitches. So if your rows are 120, you're going to have 120 stitches. If they are 100, you're going to have 100 stitches. So beginning with this very first row, I'll yarn over, insert the hook into the row, yarn over and pull up a loop to get 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through the 3 loops to complete a half double crochet stitch. And I'm working over this end just to weave it in, then yarn over, go into the next row, which is this one right here, insert the hook and complete a half double crochet, yarn over into the next row, which is right here. We're going to place a half double crochet, then a half double crochet into the next row and into all the rows all around the ribbon. So make sure that each of the rows gets one half double crochets. I'm in the last row of my ribbon and I'm placing the last half double crochet right there. Then to complete the first row, I'm going to insert the hook into the first half double crochet that I've done and then slip stitch. So there we're done with row one of our pants. So chain one and turn to begin row two. Then we're going to yarn over, skip the very first stitch. We're going to work it as we come to the end. So skip it and work into the second one. Place one half double crochet into that second stitch. Then one half double crochet into all the stitches all around. I'll meet you at the end of the row to show you how to complete it. I'm coming to the end of row two and this is my last stitch. But then we have the first stitch that we did not work in. So we're going to place a half double crochet into that very first stitch, which is going to be our last stitch, then slip stitch on top of the first half double crochet that we did. Chain one and turn to begin row three. We're going to work row three the same exact way we worked row two. So yarn over, skip the first stitch, work into the second, place one half double crochet into all the stitches And when you come to the end, make sure that you place a half double crochet into the first stitch that we've skipped. I'm in the last few stitches of row 3, and I'm just working the half double crochet stitches. Then this is the very first stitch that I skipped, and I'm going to work a half double crochet into it, then slip stitch on top of the first half double crochet, chain 1 and turn to begin row 4, and we're going to work row 4 just the same way we worked row 2 and row 3. So this is basically a 1 row repeat. We're just repeating row 2 until we get to our fly measurement. So I'll place 1 half double crochet into all the stitches, and then when I come to the end of row 4, I'll do my last half double crochet in the very first stitch. Then I'll do that as I measure the fly, and with the fly we measure this way, in this direction. So without stretching, I'm at a fly measurement of 3 inches, but you need to give this a little bit of a stretch, not too much, but a small stretch. So when I stretch this a little bit, it gets me to around 4 inches, and I want to work until I get to 12 inches. The length of the fly that you're going to make will be dependent on where you want your pants to reach. Like if you want a high waist, you're going to work a longer fly. If you want a low waist, you're going to work a shorter fly. So keep going till you get your fly measurements, and from there I'll show you what to do next. I've done a total of 23 rows to get me to my fly measurements, and when I measure these without stretching, it gets me to 9 inches. But then when I give this a little bit of a stretch, it's going to get to 12, which is the fly measurement that I was going for. So now I'm ready to divide the skirt into a pant. To do that, you need to get your stitch count and divide it by 2. Mine was 110 divided by 2, that will be 55. So I'll start by working a total of 55 stitches. I've already chained 1, so I'll turn and work 1 half double crochet in the next 55 stitches, starting with the second one. I'm done with the 55 stitches, and that is the exact half of my skirt, and that is where we're going to divide it into 2. After the 55 stitches, I'll chain 10, then connect the chain in the very first stitch that we've done to complete that row. This is my row, what? Row 24, I think. So connect right there, and we've divided the skirt into 2. So now you need to check these measurements over here to make sure that it gets you to your thigh measurements. So when I measure this without stretching, it's at 9. 9 multiplied by 2, that's 18. When I give this a bit of a stretch, it goes up to 10. I'm working a thigh measurement of 22, and so I'll need to add the number of chains. Then the 10 chains are not enough, so I'll need to increase the number of chains from 10 to maybe say 22 should get me to 11 inches, so I'll add like 5 stitches to get me to the 11 inches. Right here, I'll just undo the slip stitch and add 5 more chains. Then slip stitch. And check the measurement again, just to confirm that it's getting to 22. So that's 11. 11 multiplied by 2, that's 22. And we are ready to continue to the next row. So we're going to work one leg, complete it, and then we're going to come back and work the other one. I'll chain 1 and turn, then work in the chain stitches. I have a total of 15 chain stitches, so I'm going to have a total of 15 half double crochets in that chain. This is my last chain, and I'm going to work the stitch right here.
I'll then place 1 half double crochet into each of the stitches from the previous row till I get to where I've started working the chain.
I'm in the last stitch where I'm going to place my last half double crochet.
To complete the row, we slip stitch on top of the first half double crochet stitch.
Chain 1 and turn to begin the next row, which is row 20. Let me confirm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 26. So I'm starting row 26, and I'm going to start in the second stitch. Then for the first stitch, I'll work it as I come to the end. And now we're just going to repeat that row until we get the length from the waist up to the knees. So measure the length from your waist to your knees and work that length. I'll meet you once I get to that length. Then we're going to work differently from that point. You need to repeat your rows until you get to a length that is 3 inches before you get to your knee length. That is the length from the waist to the knee, to the knees. The length from my waist to the knees is 23, And like I've mentioned, we are working until we get to 3 inches before. So I've worked up to 20. So if your knee length is say 25, then you're going to work until you get to 23. To get to this length, I've done a total of 56 rows. That is from the waist all the way to this point. And now from here, we're going to work differently. And we're going to work a chain of 5. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that will act as a triple crochet and a chain in between. Then turn your work. Once you turn, you're going to yarn over twice, 1 and 2. Skip the second stitch and work into the third. Insert your hook and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Then yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 to complete a triple crochet. Then chain 1, yarn over twice, skip the next stitch and work into the one that follows and place your next triple crochet there. Chain 1, yarn over twice, skip a stitch and work into the next one. And for row 57, it could be any row for you, it doesn't have to be 57. So for my row 57, I'm going to work the triple crochet, chain 1, skip, triple crochet, chain 1, skip, triple crochet. So I've chained 1, I'm going to skip and work a triple crochet into the next stitch, then I'll continue all the way to the end of this row. At the end, we're going to chain 1, and there should be a stitch that you're going to skip. If you do not have a stitch right here, you're just going to go straight into the 4th chain at the beginning. So count 1, 2, 3, and 4. So insert your hook into the 4th chain and slip stitch. Then from here, we're going to do a little bit of math. So what you need to do is count your gaps, the chain 1 gaps that you have. So let me count mine beginning from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 34 spaces. Now we want to make sure that the number of spaces that we have is a multiple of 6, or a number that is divisible by 6. Mine are 34. Now then a number that is divisible by 6 that is close to my 34 is 36. The other number that is less than 34 and is divisible by 6 is 30. So you can either reduce the 2 gaps or increase 2 gaps. So for me, because 36 is closer to 34 than 30, I'm going to increase the number of gaps. And this is how I'll just do it randomly so that I can get a multiple of 6. So what I'll do is I'll start by chaining 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then turn. After turning, I'll start in the next triple crochet stitch. So I'll yarn over twice and go into that stitch and place a triple crochet into it. I'll do a total of 10 and then increase. So chain 1, 10 gaps that is. Into the next triple crochet, do a triple crochet. Chain 1, yarn over twice, triple crochet into the next one. Those are 1, 2, 3. So I'll do a total of 10. Let me keep going. Like I've mentioned, I'm only increasing 2 in order to get to 36. If you're, let's say, at 31, you'll need to reduce 1 to get to 30. The next part that we're going to work requires a pattern, and that pattern should be a number that is divisible by 6. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll keep going to 10. So that's 6. Then we have 7, then 8, 9, 10. So to increase, I'm going to chain 1 and go back into the 10th space. In the 10th place where we work the triple crochet, and work another triple crochet right there. So I've done an increase of 1 gap. I have 1 more remaining, so I'll chain 1 and work another 10 gaps before I increase again. And 10. Then right there, I'm going to work an increase, chain 1 and back into that gap with a triple crochet. On top of that triple crochet with another triple crochet. So I've done a second increase, and now I'm at 22 gaps, 22 chain 1 gaps. So I'll work the remaining ones with no increase, and in total I should have 36 chain 1 spaces at the end of this second row of the triple crochets. At the end, I'll do a slip stitch onto the 4th chain like that. And if you have your multiple of 6, you're good to go now.
Next, we're going to work a row with no increase. So start by chaining 5.
And turn in. Then work a triple crochet into the second triple crochet. Chain 1, a triple crochet into the next triple crochet.
Chain 1 and work a triple crochet on top of the previous triple crochet. Then I'll keep chaining 1 and work in the triple crochets all the way to the end of row 3, and then I'll work row 4, 5 up to 7, the same as row 3, that is with no increase at all, just a chain and a triple crochet on top of the previous triple crochet. So keep going. I'll meet you once I have my 7 rows.
I've gone on to work row 4, 5, 6, and 7 with no increase. And now we're going to start increasing so that we can create the bell shape part of the bottoms. Start by chaining 5 and turning. Then after turning, we're going to work an increase in that very first stitch. So yarn over twice into this stitch, go back into that first stitch and place a triple crochet. So that will be our first increase. And then we're going to work a total of 6 spaces with no increase. So we're going to chain 1, yarn over twice, go into the next triple crochet and work a triple crochet right there, chain 1. So that's 1. I'm going to count a total of 6. Then we're going to have 2. Then we have 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now after the 6 spaces, that is,
We're not counting the first one, so we'll count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. After the 6, chain 1 and triple crochet in the same spot that we've done the previous triple crochet. And that's our first increase. Then that's the second increase actually. Then we're going to chain 1, work a triple crochet onto the next triple crochet, and we're going to work a total of 6 spaces. Then after the 6, we're going to do an increase. I'm done with the 6 spaces, so I've chained 1, then I'll go back into that same stitch and place another triple crochet there for the third increase. So I'm just confirming that there are 6. Now I'll work another 6 and increase, and I'll keep going to the end of the row. So I'm going to meet you at the end of the row and show you how to complete it. I'm at the end of the row and I've just done the 5, so this will be the 6th. I'll chain 1, then slip stitch onto the chain 4, and that will give me the 6th gap. So we're done with the first row of increase, which was row 8. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and turn to begin row 9, and row 9 is going to be a row with no increase. So each of the triple crochet stitches is just going to get 1 triple crochet. So we're going to alternate between a row of increase and a row with no increase. So there was an increase in row 8, row 9 will have no increase, but then again we're going to increase in row 10. In row 10, we're going to increase differently from row 8. So I'll work until I get to the end of row 9. Then I'll show you how to work row 10. At the end of row 9, I'll chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the chain 4 from the beginning. Then there we have our 9 rows. The 9th row has no increase. So now I'm going to work row 10 with an increase. Start by chaining 5 and turn in. After I turn, I'll do my first increase in that very first stitch. So yarn over twice and do a triple crochet into that first triple crochet at the beginning of the row. Next, I'm going to work a total of 7 gaps. So previously we worked 6. So now we're going to work 7 before increasing. So I'll chain 1 and work a triple crochet, a total of 7 triple crochets separated by a chain 1, and after the 7, I'll work the increase. So now I have the 7, so I'll chain 1, yarn over twice, and go back into that same triple crochet with another triple crochet. Chain 1 and now count another 7. So after every 7 gaps, we increase. I'm done with another 7 gaps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now I'll chain 1 and go back into that triple crochet and work the increase. So work the increase into that same spot. Then I'll keep going with the chain 1 and the triple crochets till I get to the end of the row. This is row 10, which has an increase after every 7 gaps. I'm at the end of row 10 and I'll chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the chain 4 at the beginning to complete the row. Then I'll chain 5 and turn to begin row 11, and row 11 is going to be a row with no increase. So just 1 triple crochet on top of each of the previous triple crochets separated by a chain 1 till we get to the end of row 11. Then in row 12 we're going to increase, and we're going to increase after 8 gaps. So we started with 6, we went to 8, then the next one will be in the 9, then after that 10, 11, 12, and so on. So I'll keep alternating between a row of increase and a row with no increase while increasing the number of spaces in each of the consecutive rows till I get to the full length of my pair of pants. I'm completing row 11, which has no increase, so I've just chained one, and I'll chain one, then do the slip stitch on top of the chain 4 to complete row 11. Then we're going to have an increase in row 12. So after chaining 5, we turn and work a total of 8 gaps like I mentioned before. Then another increase will be in row 14, which will be after 9 gaps. In row 16, it will be after 10 gaps, and keep going. Once I get to the full length of my pair of pants, I'll let you know the number of rows that I'll have done. Before going on to complete the first leg, I'll quickly show you how to connect the yarn for the second leg. So make sure that you're on the side where the stitches are visible, and you're going to connect the yarn at the back part of the pants with a slip stitch, then chain one and go back into that stitch with a half double crochet. And this is the stitch at the corner just before the point where we did the chains. And because we are done the chains, we're going to do single crochets instead of half double crochets in that first row of the extension of the other leg. So I'm going to do a total of 15 single crochets while working over my end just to weave it in. So you want to make sure that this row is similar to the other row that was on the other side, the one that had a chain. And because we cannot chain here, we're doing single crochets. Because we can't also do half double crochets, the rows will not be the same. So do a total of 15 single crochets in that middle part, and then when we get to the other side, we're going to work half double crochet stitches. Once I'm done with the single crochet stitches, I'll work half double crochet stitches on top of the previous half double crochet stitches all the way around. So just go on, complete this row with just one half double crochet stitch in every stitch. I'm in the last stitch, so I'll slip stitch on top of the first half double crochet stitch, chain one, and turn to begin the next row. Now from here we're just going to work rows of half double crochet stitches starting with the second stitch and ending with the first stitch like we've been doing. And I want to work the same number of rows of half double crochet rows as the ones that I've worked on the other leg before changing to the triple crochet mesh stitches. So now keep going, and once you get to that length, which was 20 inches from the waist for my case, you're going to work the triple crochet rows with a mesh stitch. I went on to complete my legs, and I did an increase until I had 12 gaps. So we started with 6, then went to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. After that, I stopped increasing. So the rows after the 12th gap of increase are 5, and they have no increase. So do that for your case and make sure that you get to your full length. You may end up working more than 5 rows, but in my case I did 5 at the end. So I started with 7, then I did increases from the 6th gap to the 12th gap, then I completed with 5 rows with no increase. At the end, I'll chain 1 and turn and work a row of single crochets. You want to make sure that you're working this on the right side. I'll begin on the chain 1 space, insert the hook and do a single crochet. The reason for doing this row is just to make sure that I have a row where I can weave in my ends. So I'm going to place a single crochet on the chain 1 space and on top of the triple crochet all the way around that last row. The last single crochet is in the first stitch that I skipped. Then I'll slip stitch onto the first single crochet that I did, chain 1 and cut off the yarn. And at this point we are done. Pull the yarn through and fasten. Then I'll get a darning needle and weave in that end. After that, we are done. We are done with the pair of pants. I also went on to complete the other leg, so I'll weave in that end too. And so thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the tutorial. If you've enjoyed it, kindly leave a like, comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you want to leave a special gift for this tutorial, click on the thanks button. You can also support the channel by joining the membership club by just going to my profile and clicking on the word join. See you in the next one.